Good morning, Port Harcourt. I can't hear you. I know she mentioned that I'm an educator. And one thing with us educators, we can't stand a quiet atmosphere because we know how powerful your ability to respond is to what you take out from this session. So I'm going to say good morning, Port Harcourt again. Good morning, everybody. My name is Precious, and I bring you greetings from the very beautiful city of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. I'd like to start my session by telling you about a woman in history. A woman that history will never forget. Her name was Susanna Wesley. If you've ever heard of the Methodist movement, the Methodist Church, then we all have Susanna Wesley to thank God for. Now, Susanna Wesley lived in England in the 1600s. She wasn't a pastor. She wasn't even educated. She wasn't exposed. She was just a mother. But beyond being just a mother, Susanna was a mother with a purpose. She didn't have a platform. She didn't have money. She didn't have wealth. But she was a mother who made a commitment to raising global champions. Please follow this story. This woman had 19 children. No husband, no nanny, no support whatsoever. But she was intentional and radical about how she raised her children. The story tells us that Susanna dedicated 1 hour every week to nurturing and having heart-to-heart conversations with her children. Now, if you remember, I said that we have this woman to thank for the Methodist revival movement. We all know where, if you understand the history of the church, you know the role the Methodist revival played in the sustenance of the church up till today. We have this woman. At the end of the day, 2 out of those 19 children were John and Charles Wesley, the people who founded the Methodist movement. John Wesley was asked a question about his faith, his convictions, and what helped him build a church that after the 1600s is still here today, that has captured the whole world. He was asked, what gave you the fire to drive this? And John pointed to one person, and that person was who, everybody? His mother. This tells us the power of a parent, the power of a mother, the power of a caregiver, the power of a voice. If that woman did not understand the role she played in this parenting thing, I bet you that probably those children wouldn't have amounted to what they amount today. Now, as I stand before you today, I want to talk about the power of a shepherd parent. You know, when Gladys sent the topic, I've had to speak on tons of concepts around parenting for the years I've worked in this space, but I've never come across the concept of the shepherd parent. So this made me go back to do some research. Before we delve right into my topic and everything that I would need you to know about shepherd parenting, it's a very heavy concept. Please follow me. We are here today because we have a mandate. The Life Givers Conference for 2026 has a mandate. And that mandate is to do what? To raise global champions. That's the mandate. But permit me to start my session by saying that champions are not mass-produced. Champions are not mass-produced in schools. They are not mass-produced in assembly lines. Champions are not mass-produced in communities. Champions are intentionally designed. For every child who becomes a champion, For every child who becomes an outlier, for every child who changes the world, for everyone that future generations will have to thank one way or the other, there was someone behind the scene intentionally crafting their early years. There was an instrument. There was a laboratory of the home. So today, your home is no longer just that place where you wake up, you tend to your children, they sleep, you feed them, you clothe them, you know, the basic needs of the society. You feed them, you clothe them, and you think it's enough. Except if you're just raising a mediocre. If you're raising a mediocre here, let me see your hands up. But if you're going to raise a champion, someone who is going to be an outlier, someone who will change their world, then you will have to do different. Everybody, what did I say? We will have to do what? We'll do different. At the end of the day, what will differentiate your child from the next child isn't really the education you give them. I am an educator. I run a school. Education is powerful. It is transformational. But we have children from 5-star schools competing with children from government schools. True or false? So at the end of the day, it's not necessarily. Education is important. Please don't get me wrong. But it is not really. It is not really. Education, as powerful as it is, it's not the tool alone. There is such a tool as shepherd parenting. There is such a tool as people like you and I understanding the impact we have on children. Psychology tells us that children come tabula rasa. Tabula rasa means that children come as a blank slate. You know the way this platform was blank until I put this laptop on it. That is how your child comes. Nothing, no values, no information, no character. They come to you the way they are. But after 10 years, everything your child becomes is as a result of what you chose for them to become. So I move on by saying that who our children become is as a result of our voice, as a result of our presence, and as a result of our intentionality. There was something that Ms. Green said that I feel like I need to anchor again. The world we are raising our children is no longer the world we grew up in. It has changed. Things are different. You know, a lot of people say, but our parents didn't really do much. Let me shock you. If our parents had to raise children in the world that we are raising our children today, all of us here would have been miserable. The world you're raising your child today is a global world. When we grew up, our competitors were our friends from the same secondary school, or our neighbors, or the children that you grew up in the same compound with. Today, your child's competition is a child somewhere in Russia being indoctrinated. Your child's competition is a child who at 10 is already learning technology. Your child's competition is a child in a state where they are being indoctrinated to deceive, where they are being indoctrinated to kill. So the question is, what skill does my child have to be able to get into life with these same people and win? So do you agree with me that the game of parenting has shifted? Our parents could parent with default. What is default? Default is just doing things as it is. In my dialect, we say ihe chifotere in the Igbo dialect. It means what tomorrow brings, we take. In today's world, if you raise a child like that, you are programming a failure. Just by not doing anything. You're programming a prey that predators would swallow up. Now this takes me to our concept. And what is that concept? It's the concept of the shepherd parents. If you've heard of the word shepherd before, let me see your hands up. Now, before we even look at what the shepherd parent is, let's look at the word shepherd. The etymology of the word shepherd. The word shepherd is gotten from the Hebrew word, and what the word basically means is to guard and to manage. The word shepherd means to do what? To guard, and to do what? To manage. There is another meaning that includes to feed, to nourish, and to tend. So if you are a shepherd parent, you're not just raising, you're doing three core things. Number one, you are connecting. Can I hear us say the word connecting? Number two, you are present, you are available, and number three, you are sacrificial. These are the core tenets of being a shepherd parent. Number one is what? Intimate, connecting. Number two is present and available. Number three is sacrificial enough to protect. So when I say a shepherd parent, I'm not just talking about a parent who manages their children. I'm talking about a parent who is intimate with them. Another synonym for intimate would be connected. Everybody say connected. You're present, not just to provide the needs. Oh, I give you clothing, I give you shelter, I pay your fees. Those things are minimum entry requirements. If that's all you do as a parent, I'm sorry, you're joking. Shepherd parenting has transitioned. It has transitioned from providing the basic needs to ensuring that you have connection, which is intimacy, you are present, which is being available, and you protect. You sacrifice of yourself, of your time, of your safety to ensure that these children are growing. Now let us move on to two types of parents that we have in the world. You know, in Nigeria, we don't exactly have the proper shepherding ecosystem here. When it has to do with taking care of animals, animal keepers, what we have are cattle herders. True or false? A lot of us, true or false, everybody? I want to hear your voice, everyone. True or false? Thank you. We have the cattle herders. My daughter is fascinated with cattle herders. She sees those guys and she doesn't understand how a person can control a large flock of cattle with just a stick. One dagger like this, their cattle have gone this way. Can I put it to you that a lot of us are not shepherd parents? A lot of us are cattle herders. There are the two categories. So I believe that at the end of this session, you should be able to answer a question. Which parent am I? Am I the cattle herder? If I can have that slide, I would really appreciate it. Am I the cattle herder or am I a shepherd parent? A cattle herder drives from behind with fear and trembling. One of the speakers mentioned it. You come home, your children are literally fidgeting because the lion of the tribe of the household has prevailed. They've come back from work. They've come back with fierceness. The cattle herder parent drives from behind with pressure and fear, while the shepherd parent leads from the front. I will explain this concept accept, with presence, and with what, everybody? With trust. The cattle herder parents, children obey out of fear. Once mommy is there, you know that mommy will roar. And once she roars, the environment of the home changes. And once it changes, something is about to land on your back. But a shepherd parent produces, children follow out of love. The cattle herder parent produces compliance. Because I said it, you do it. The shepherd parent produces conviction. Permit me to say that in the 21st century, in today's world, if all you do is expect compliance from your children, what will happen is that when in your absence, they go back to manual setting. When they leave your home, they return to those things you were screaming about. We do not steal, don't steal, don't you know I'm not supposed to steal? Because you're not there, the child has to comply. But if you are a shepherd parent, the child does not just understand what they are not supposed to do. The child understands the why. They understand the values that back the why. A lot of Christians, I love that Mrs. Ebelema mentioned that as Christians, we will at a point have to tell ourselves the truth. A lot of us parents, we are compliance officers. You don't care if your child understands the why. You don't care if your child has the values. All you care is that because I said it, you do it, it is wrong. Because at the end of the day, in your absence, they will go back to factory setting. So a shepherd parent makes sure that their children understand why. Why do we pray? Why are we Christians? Why are we honest? Why do we go to church? Why? Why should I be honest? Why should I not do exam malpractice? When everybody in the class, they are following suit, why should I be different? As a shepherd parent, go back today and reinforce your why. Because in your absence, it is the why that will guide your child, not the fear, not the beating. I heard a story of a young boy who was raised in church, who was locked up in, I think it was Kirikiri, 2 months ago. This was a guy that his father was a pastor. Had a church. Old time Christianity, not today's old time Christianity as of old. This boy grew up in church. Why was he locked up? He was caught up with fraud. For every time I hear those stories, a question rings in my heart. I grew up in the church as well. And I ask myself, what is the difference between people like myself who grew up with as pastors' children and the other people who also grew up as pastors' children but went astray? And if there is one response that comes to my heart, it is what we've just looked at. My father drove conviction. He had something he always did. Before he would preach whatever sermon he's going to preach on Sunday, the whole week he will preach it to us. Because he would always say that judgment would start from the house of God. Dear parents, go back today. Drive conviction. Then the most important part of the shepherd parent versus the cattle header parent is that the cattle header parent loses influence when the child grows. Some of our children are waiting for us. They're just waiting for us till their adulthood. They are waiting till the point that they grow up and leave our houses. They are just waiting for you. So everything you're doing, They are just waiting. They are waiting to show you their true color when you no longer have to feed them. But the shepherd parent, your influence deepens with time. A cattle header parent produces children who comply in the home front but rebel outside. A shepherd parent produces children who carries their values, who lives out the scripture that says, let your light so shine. The cattle header parent, you put on the light, the child will quench it and give you like this. But the shepherd parent raises children who let their little light shine. So can I ask you a question today? I'm going to ask these guys and I will ask you. Which parent are you? This row. Are you the cattle header parent or the shepherd parent? This row. I can't hear you. Or are you in between? You're the shepherd parent, thank you. This row, what parent are you? The shepherd parent. Now I have a quick framework. A quick model that shows you the responsibilities of every shepherd parent. And I will call it the sheep framework. The first framework is, but before I move on, I want to say this quote. Parents are like shuttles on a loom. They join the threats of the past with the threats of the future and leave their own bright patterns as they go. In the sheep framework, there are 5 responsibilities of a shepherd parent. The first responsibility is number 1, study your child. We have a problem in today's world. And it is that as parents, we are subconsciously propagating the problematic patterns we grew up under. I was telling one of my sisters recently, being very honest with her, that some of the traits that I saw my mother do, and I had almost sworn as a young girl that I would never do. Even as a coach, I caught myself unconsciously doing the same thing. The same way she would put her mouth. This because my mom's replica, right? If you see how you've seen me, we have very large eyeballs. The same way she would shine those eyeballs, place her mouth, squeeze her face. I found myself. With everything I know, I found myself still propagating the same patterns. Oftentimes, the parents we become is not the parents we want to be. The parents we become is the parenting style and framework that has been put into us subconsciously. So if you had a caretaker parents who were conscious, they would pay your fees, ensure you're taken care of, you would become that parent. If you had haphazard parents, you will become a haphazard parent. If in your home, like what Mrs. Ibelama said, it was quiet, everybody be quiet, we don't shout, you would raise children who don't shout. But if you grew up in a home like mine, that shouting was the order of the day. We don't do things quiet. We shout. Notice how my voice is. Wish. In my bid to be quiet, I'm shouting. Except I'm whispering. At a point when I got into public speaking, I had to learn to alternate my voice because I didn't know I had a loud voice. That was where I grew up. If I am not careful, I will propagate the same problematic patterns. So take 1 minute to ask yourself, reflect. What problematic patterns am I propagating right now that I need to put a stop to? I like the definition of ancestral curses that I once heard. But ancestral curses are not necessarily demons and witches. Sometimes they are. Sometimes ancestral causes are patterns that we have propagated that has moved down from generation to generation to generation, and nobody has woken up to break that pattern. If we look at the book of Genesis, we could see the pattern of lies in Abraham's family. Abraham lied, and when it got to Isaac's turn, what did he do? He lied. We must be careful to identify. Some families, they don't have favor. And the core reason they don't have favor is not because there is a demon blowing away favor from them. It is because they are ill-mannered. No character education. And what happens when you lack character? You lack favor. So you're there screaming, we don't have favor in our family, we don't have favor in our family. It's not that. It is that your children see a dishonest father and a dishonest mother. And to them, you could scream all you like. We are honest, we are honest, we are honest. But if they don't see honesty being propagated, they will pick it up. So this takes us to study your child. What informs your parenting style? Is it as a result of the child you're raising or how you were raised? Dr. Jen Hardy says that your child may need a different parenting style than what you needed growing up. So to this bid, commit to parenting the child you have, not the one you wish you have. A lot of us, we're not parenting the children in front of us. We are parenting the ones that we wish we had. We are parenting the ones that our neighbors have. Your parenting must be customized to the child you have at the moment. Every child is different. Like I mentioned, I run in school. On Tuesday, this was displayed practically. We had a competition. There was a spelling bee competition. There was an abacus mental maths presentation. There's this particular boy. He would come out confident. He would flop. For every word, for the rounds he did, he probably just got 2 words. He was the last in his category. But this same boy came out during the mental maths abacus presentation. It's a smart style where children don't use calculators or paper. They do it with their hands and they are taught to do it. It's a Japanese style of doing maths. This boy came out confidently. The same boy. Everybody say after me, the same boy. Yeah, you get it. The same boy came out. He wasn't using his hands. Imagine being called 15 strings of numbers. The boy would just say the answer. I came out and I told my parents, this right here is a practical parenting lesson. That you don't parent the child you wish you had. Because I bet that boy's mother was already on her seat fuming. You have disgraced me. You have disgraced me. Every other person's child is spelling. You are not doing anything. Meanwhile, that boy might not have been linguistically intelligent. He was logically gifted. Meanwhile, my own daughter can spell any word you call. She's 7. She won the competition last year. This year she was the second runner-up. That mental maths, we are fighting. The mental maths fighter, she fights back. That's a different child. Dear parents, the first S in the shepherd parent is that you parent the one you have. I know you wish you had, those children, they're children that have celebrity auras. I run in school so I can tell you. From cradle, you can already tell that this child will pull attention. They become the influential ones. They are the ones that during presentation, you're teaching everybody the same thing. They are the same age, from that little age. But that one will always shine. Don't we all wish we had those children? Those ones that bring presentations to your own child that will be shining. So the parents that have those celebrity children, they'll be dancing, oh, that's my child. Meanwhile, your own child might not be that loud, but they are empathetic. They are caring. They have good interpersonal relationships. You go home, they give you their word. This is the most caring child in class. You toss it. Why did you not take first? Dear parents, raise the one you have. Understand their strengths and understand their weaknesses. So my parenting principle is that you must apply the nature versus the nurture. What is nature? Nature is, this is my child. This is what they've been gifted with. This child is very outspoken. This child is a leader. He is bossy. Meanwhile, my second child is not as outspoken. My second child is easily influenced. To the pegs of your outspoken child, they are the quirks, they are the negative sides. It means that if you do not control them, they might become very loud-mouthed. So to that strongly opinionated child, you preserve what nature has given them, but you also nurture control in the way they speak. Meanwhile, to the naturally quiet, they won't even say anything. You begin to nurture outspokenness and communication. So all of us, we have it. So on your jotter now, draw a table. Nature, nurture. Let's do it. Remember, I'm a teacher, so I can't do without an assignment. Draw a table. Nature, nurture. Under nature, what is my child gifted with? It could be the simplest things that you are ignoring. I have a child in my school who is just very observant. His mates could play. His mates could play. And they keep the toys, and he sees a toy just falling somewhere. The moment teacher asks, where is this part of this toy? This young man will go to a corner and bring it out. That's a strength. It's a strength that we could ignore, but it's a strength nevertheless. Feeling heard and understood allows your children release their feelings. And this is what studying your child produces. A child who feels truly known, and a child who feels known does not need to look for validation elsewhere. A child that feels seen and known doesn't need to look for validation elsewhere. We're living in a society of people that are willing to go through the lens to look for validation from anybody and anywhere. One thing studying your child does for you is letting them know that irrespective of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, irrespective of that, I see you and I love you. Not because you're the first. I love you because you are you. The Bible says that he loved us first. First. Use the same principle as a parent. Love your child first, irrespective. Love them. The next one is to go ahead of your child. Go ahead from your child. You lead from the front, not from the back. James Baldwin, a quote, I love quotes a lot. He says that children have never been really good at listening to their elders. So if you think your child does not listen, it didn't start in your house. Children have never been really good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them. Who you want your child to become it first. This is the very uncomfortable part of this teaching. When we shine the light back to ourselves. A cattle header can go from the behind and hit the sheep, the cattle. He could do that. But But a shepherd doesn't do that. A shepherd moves in front. He shows the behavior he wants. Going ahead means living the life you want them to live. In the Montessori principle, we learned that children are like sponges. Do you know what sponges do very well? They soak up. So your child soaks up everything. Your conscious, your unconscious. Everything you do is who your child becomes. To a very large extent, you put the ceiling over who your child can never become. You put that ceiling. Webb Dubois said that children learn more from who you are than what you teach. So, like I said, we're shining the light back to ourselves. You cannot call your child to integrity if you struggle from integrity. You can't call your child to discipline if you don't model it. You can't call your child to discipline with their phones, with their devices, if all they know and see is mommy watching Telemundo morning till night, or laughing on TikTok morning till night, and you're screaming, leave your phone, leave which phone? But they might not be able to tell you, but they are seeing it. You are not arranged. Well, mommy, you are not arranged. So shine the light back to yours. You are not outspoken, but they see you when you come for PTA. Other people's parents are talking. You sit down there, mom, and you want them to be outspoken. How? Everybody say after me, how? To who you want them to become it first. Demand higher of yourself, because you're a generation. You are a generation. You know, we talk about our forefathers. You are somebody's forefather. Think about it. In the next 100 years, it's you. It's a shock. It's true. It's you. When we talk about I was having a conversation with my mom. How in our village, certain people have more plots of land than the others. And then, in the Igbo land, to get land, you have to be a warrior. You have to fight. So typically, the people who have the more expanse of land were people who were physically gifted, people who were strong, who could lead troops. So they grabbed more land than the people who were smaller, and that's what's happening in today's world. The leverage your children will have, will not come by wish. It's by who you become. If you understand it, you will take your own life serious. Aliko Dangote. You know, some people still think that man's wealth is by chance. It's not by chance. His grandfather at a time was the richest man in West Africa from his maternal side. It was said that when he started that Dangote group of companies, that his uncle lent him the money needed. The same was said of Otedola. Otedola's father was partly part of the past governors of Lagos State. Otedola's father. Elumelu, this guy, Elumelu, his father-in-law is one of the past chairmen of UBA at the moment. Your children need leverage. Oh. Your children need leverage. Oh. For every time you want to waste your life, remember that there are people whose lives are tied to your own. So going out of them is not being perfect. It's being honest. It's being consistent, and it is being willing to grow. It is being willing to step up higher. That's what going ahead of them means. Now, the next point is number E. Establish their identity. This was what Mrs. Green talked about, but I'm going to come from a different light. But can we go back to S? So I'm sure that I was not speaking to myself. S was what? beautiful. H was what? Go ahead of them. E is what? Establish their identity. Matthew Jacobson says that behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believed first. Behind every young child, I see it in my school. For every child who bounces into the gate like my father owns the world, there is a father feeding that confidence. And behind every child who comes scared, there is a parent somewhere beating out the genius from that child. I had a child who came to my school. If you talk, she will fidget. It's not shout, it's talk. Like, come, go. When we understudied the family, for every time her parents came to pick her, there was a shouting, they would twist the ear, there was always something physical happening. For us to have helped that child learn, we had to go back to rebuilding her confidence. There was a scripture, Judges chapter 6, verse 12. The Bible illustrates how powerful identity is in the story of Gideon. Gideon was an ordinary man, a petite ordinary man who was just threshing in where they thresh. He was just hiding from the people who were from the army. He was just living a normal life. There was nothing extraordinary about Gideon, nothing. But the Bible says that the angel appeared to him and he said to him, can we read that part loudly? Loudly. Can we read it together, everybody? The Lord is with you, you mighty man of what? Valor. I like to think that the moment the angel said this, Gideon looked back. Are you talking to who? Are you talking to me? Thank you, sir. Is it me you're talking to? Who is a mighty man of valor? I'm here hiding. You're calling me a mighty man of valor. We live in a world that is constantly labeling our children. Look at your head, too big. Mrs. Green said they called her Mortex bottle. You know what they called me? A very long name, Elegbedudu. That's the world your children grow up in. I have a chubby daughter who came premature. Right now she's chubby. If you're a mother here, if you have a child who came full length of time, your child would probably be 2.5 kg, 3 kg. My daughter came at 1.15 kg. While in the SEBU, she went down to 850 grams. She was all skeleton. And her dad has a big skull. So she was all skeleton with a very big skull. My husband has a long, his forehead is long. So she had that. So the doctors suspected she probably had brain bleed because her head was unusually bigger than the body. At a point, she was suspected to have Down syndrome. At a point. But in that state, I always used to shout it. Hey! See, fine girl was born. She was not fine to God. Me, the mother, knew that my child, she was not fine. It's not, if I carry her, I have to cover her head because if you see the head, you'll be like, what? People will come and say, you know how people come to see your child and they're first shocked before they now see the child. But I roared like a mother because I understand my place. I'm not just a mother who nurtures. I'm a matriarch. And I speak what I want to see into that child. Today, guys, do you know my daughter? She's a fine girl. Victory is beautiful. Not be chives. She's a fine girl. I spoke it. I remember I started my school because of that little girl. So if you are here and you are in my position, speak, oh, what did I say? Speak, shout it right. Let the earth know that this one, I won't give up on you. We went to school. The first school she was. When they're doing presentation, she'll just be there, I was like, God, now my picking with this. During after the exam, I went to the teacher. I said, teacher, how far? Teacher told me. Teacher said, ma, I don't know. I went to my husband. I said, Oga, you see this certificate I have, I'm dusting it up. Today, that same girl represents us in competitions. That same girl, when people come to my school, they're like, my child, I don't know. I just drag my daughter, show you the before and after. Decide if you want to give me your child or not. It was in the words. You might not have a mighty girl in valor, but you can call out the mighty girl in valor. You might not have a mighty boy in valor, but you can call out the mighty boy in valor. The world will label your child. It is your responsibility to make sure that your own voice is louder. Your voice of love. Your voice about their God's given destiny. It's your responsibility to make sure it is louder. Peggy O'Mara says that the way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. So at the end of the day, how am I talking to this child? God's model is powerful. Gideon was the least of his family, but he wasn't addressed by who he was at the time. God addressed him by the future that he saw. Are we together here? E is protect the environment. The world, the devil is out there as a roaring lion, looking for the child he will devour. Sometime in March, I think exactly a month today, I was in Umuahia. I was at a conference. And we had, part of the speakers was a CP. She was a police officer. She told us stories. Stories of young girls being abused. Stories of a young boy contracting AIDS from a barber. The devil is out like a lion. He's roaring, looking for the child he will devour. Will you allow him devour your own? I can't hear you. Will you allow him devour your own? Frank Frederick Douglass says that it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. The Bible says that the enemy comes. What does he come to do? To kill, to steal, and to destroy. Your responsibility is to raise the hedge of protection over your child. Not just physical protection, it is mental protection. Do you know that there are things your child will see that they will never be the same again? Do you know children who have been addicted to X-rated material because of a careless and a callous parent who thinks, oh, now it doesn't make sense? Do you know children that have been mentally destroyed because they saw things that was too big for them? Protect your child. Protect their subconscious. Protect them from your ills. This one I said is very powerful. When we all live here, we take away the makeup. We take away the pretty dresses. We take away the part of us that people know. Everybody here, we know that there is that part that God is still helping us. Just nod your head if you know, like me. There's a part that makes us go back to the cross and say, Father, help me. If you don't help me, now die I did. Protect your children from that part. While you heal, protect them. While you heal, do what? Protect them. This now goes to the last one, point to them. I spoke with a parent yesterday, day before yesterday. Ma, my child, he's not doing well. I asked her, when we sent this, did you do it? No. When we sent the website for gamified learning, did you use it? No. You know I am busy. I said, Madam, you know that I don't have any other thing to say to you. You've gotten your verdict in front of you. Dear parents, providing the basics, my child goes to the best school in Port Harcourt, I pay millions. Well done, sir. I doff my hat to you. They live in a mansion, gated estate. Well done. I doff my hat. They wear the latest clothes. I buy their clothes from the UK. Now man you be. Now boss you be. But those things are minimum entry level. You know how minimum entry level salary in Nigeria is 70K? That's how petite it is. Beyond those things, your children need your three things. You've given them your talent, well done. You've given them your investment, well done. They need your time. They need your time. Tony Whitman says that too much love never spoils children, but children become spoiled when we substitute presence for presence. You can't outsource parenting. Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it. If you like, hire nannies from the Philippines or from Malaysia. They can't do your part. I think that's the crazy thing about parenting. That no matter how much you have, you still have to come back to do the job. What investments are you making? How are you pouring yourself into your children? You can give them everything, devices, opportunities, experience. You give them everything. But pouring is intimate. It's like Susanna Wesley. Remember that story I told you in the beginning? How every week she had a time to pour into her children. All right, I'm done. I'm done here. I had something else that I wanted to share, but I'm going to just move to the commitment I want everybody here to go home with. The thing about my sessions is that when I speak, I don't just speak to you. I speak to myself. So as I live here today, there are three commitments I want you to make. Number one, the commitment of your presence. Number one is what? Commitment of your presence. So I want you to say after me, I will be present. No, I can't hear you, except I won't go. I will be present. Not just physically, but emotionally, intentionally, and spiritually. Friends, there's a thing about speaking it out loud. You shake it into your subconscious. If you whisper, it makes no impact. But if you scream it out loud, your body knows that you're ready for business. So can we say this commitment statement like we're ready? I will be present. Thank you. Not just physically, but emotionally, intentionally, and spiritually. My children will know that I am with them and not just for them. The second one is their identity. It's the second commitment to their identity. I will become the loudest voice speaking life over my child before the world labels them. I will name them. And the last one is commitment is pursuit. I will never stop pursuing. No matter how far they wander, I will keep the light on. I will keep the door open because I am their shepherd. So your commitment today, guys, just like Susanna Wesley, she didn't preach a sermon. She became it. She lived it. She shepherded well. Please go home and shepherd well. The world is waiting for the champions in your house, and I'm waiting for you. Thank you very much.